This is Wicasa, an elder who knew why the Tipi worked so well. On nights like this, you'd expect everyone inside those lodges to freeze. But the Lakota sat warm, using a design tuned to the weather. Slanted sides made the sunlight slide away instead of stabbing through. This is Wicasa, an elder who knew why the Tipi worked so well. To him, the Tipi was more than shelter. It was smart engineering, born from experience. Its first secret was where they placed it and how it faced the wind. Doors turned their backs to the worst gusts. Walls leaned into the storm, not flat against it.
Buffalo hides became both blanket and armor, catching snow and turning it into extra insulation.
Hair gripped the storm outside. Leather held the warmth inside.
The cone shape aimed smoke and hot air exactly where they needed to go.
Smoke flaps worked like a natural chimney cap, using the wind to pull smoke out.
Hot breath of the fire climbed and left, instead of choking the people below. Fresh air slipped in low, where lungs were not pressed close to the wall. He taught the young that the Tipi breathed like a living lung. Warm air rose, smoke escaped, and cooler air quietly replaced it from below. In the coldest months, warmth gathered exactly where their bodies lay. They slept in the lowest, warmest layer of air, not under a freezing ceiling. When winter loosened its grip, the same design turned to meet the heat. In summer, they simply let the lodge breathe more deeply. He lifted the skin just enough to invite cool air along the floor. Shaded and ventilated, the inside stayed cooler than the open sun.
Hot air still escaped at the top, while cooler air quietly crawled in from below.
The same opening that bled off smoke in winter bled off heat in summer. By shifting a few poles, he steered the wind like a captain steering a boat. A small change at the top meant a big change in comfort below.
Even at midday, the Tipi stayed cooler than the open prairie.
Outside, the prairie baked. Inside, the cone turned into a cool cave. Buffalo hide breathed enough to trade air, but not enough to let the heat pour straight in. Slanted sides made sunlight slide off instead of stabbing through.
Now compare it to the newcomer's cabin.
Heat clung to the stove and ceiling, while the far walls froze. Their walls leaked air in all the wrong places. Meanwhile, the Tipi guided air exactly where it belonged.
One side of the cabin baked, the other nearly turned to ice.
In the Tipi, everyone sat in the circle of warmth. In summer, the cabin turned into a wooden oven. In summer, The teepee's breathing walls kept the air moving and gentle. Their winter machine just sat there, dead weight in the heat. The Tipi needed no iron heart, just fire when it was wanted, and breath when it was not. One design came from forcing land into boxes, the other from listening to wind and seasons. One shape helped air move naturally, the other fought it at every turn. With a simple pole, he controlled airflow like turning a dial.
In the cabin. Poor draft meant the smoke stayed where the lungs were.
Smoke left its mark where it was never meant to linger.
Tippy tops carried smoke away before it could paint the roof.
They move the whole house to me each season.
The cabin stayed stuck, whether the weather liked it or not. An inner liner created a hidden blanket of moving air. Warm air traveled up that gap instead of choking the space where people slept. In summer, that same lining turned harsh sunlight into soft, cool shade. He said the lodge was drawn by the land, not by a ruler and straight lines. They learned that a good home listens to the weather before it answers. To many outsiders, they looked primitive and simple. But many cabins were, in truth, clumsy boxes for air and heat.
For comfort, the cone quietly outperformed the box.
He never called it technology or design. He simply called it the right way to live with the wind. In winter, the Tipi turned howling cold into a quiet room of shared heat. In summer, it became a cool breathing shell under the stars.
He showed them that every piece, the fire, the hides, the air, worked together.
Earth, air, fire, and hide joined into one complete system. From afar, it looked simple. From within, it was a masterpiece of climate control.
One home, two faces. Warm in snow, cool in sun.
He knew the land had already solved the problem of comfort long before engineers arrived. That is why Tipis stayed warm in winter and cool in summer. They were built to live with the earth, not against it.